Fort Henry News, November the 18th, 1937. Mint Springs Home Demonstration Club met Friday, November the 12th with Mrs. Ella Bird, with 9 members and 2 visitors present. Meeting was called to order by Vice President Mrs. Galen Phillips. Singing was led by Miss Clark and devotional by Mrs. Lola Gardner. Officers elected for the year 1938 were President Mrs. A.J. Gray, Vice President Mrs. Galen Phillips, Secretary and Treasurer Orlean Warford. The club also agreed to give $1 on fair funds. Ms. Clark showed many beautiful handcraft patterns and taught the club to weave woolen flowers. Refreshments were served by the hostess. Reverend J.W. Outland of Crockett's Creek filled his second Sunday appointment at the Baptist Church Sunday. The condition of J.C. Wallace, who has been in Paris Hospital, is much improved. He was brought to his home Thursday. Mrs. Ruby and Delcia Causey of Dover are visiting Mr. and Mrs. John Causey. Mr. and Mrs. Rube McCaslin left Monday for Florida, where they will spend the winter. Jack Gray Jr., who is attending UT College at Martin, spent last weekend with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. A.J. Gray. Mrs. Pearl Gray and Mabel Hilliard of Lick Creek spent the weekend with Miss Dixie Parker of Mobley. Mr. and Mrs. Jack Sykes spent the weekend with relatives at Murray, Kentucky. From this article, I'm going to feature the Grays of Gray's Landing. Their farm was located on both sides of Highway 79. The Gray Cemetery is on the right, just in Stewart County, just before you cross the Ned Ray McWhirter Bridge over Kentucky Lake. I'm going to read the obituary for Andrew Jackson Gray, Jr. Andrew Jackson Gray of Dover dies. Dover, Tennessee, September the 30th, and 1942. Andrew Jackson Jack Gray, 60, large landholder and member of the County Court of Stewart County, and a grandson of one of the framers of the Constitution of Tennessee, died at 12:50 Tuesday afternoon at Mason Hospital in Murray, Kentucky, after an illness of 9 months. Funeral services were conducted this afternoon at 2:30 at the home on the Clarksville Parish Highway west of here by the Reverend A.L. Allison of the Dover Church of Christ. Burial was in the family cemetery. Mr. Gray was born and lived his entire life in the old family homestead of the farm of 2,000-odd acres, originally settled by his grandfather, James Gray, a captain under General Andrew Jackson at the Battle of New Orleans. Served in the legislature. James Gray was one of the framers of Tennessee's Constitution and served for 9 years as a member of the state legislature during the early half of the last century. He was badly burned and hanged by guerrillas in the Civil War when he refused to disclose the hiding place of money they suspected him of having, but he recovered and lived several years longer. Besides his wife, Mr. Andrew Jackson Gray, Jr. is survived by two sons, Jack and Joe Darrell Gray, three sisters, Mrs. Robert Gorham of Stewart County, Mrs. George W. Edwards, and Miss Sarah Gray, both of Nashville. One brother, Tom Gray, of Sheffield, Alabama, and the following nieces and nephews: Miss Nell Reynolds of Erin, Tennessee, Mrs. Carl Martin, Mrs. Henry Gregory, and Mrs. W. W. McClanahan, Jr., all of Nashville, and Staff Sergeant Tom Edwards of Georgetown, South Carolina. Andrew Jackson Gray, Jr. married Edna Warren, 14 November 1912, in Stewart County, Tennessee. Edna's parents were Harvey Warren, born 1854 in Humphreys County, Tennessee. He died in 1910 in Plant, Humphreys County, Tennessee. Edna's mother was Helen Thomas Plant. She was born 1862 in Humphreys County, Tennessee. She passed away 1904 in Plant, Humphreys County, Tennessee. Andrew Jackson Gray, Sr., who was born in 1826 in Stewart County, is the son of James and Anna Bradford Gray. Both parents were native of North Carolina, and when young came to this county. By trade, the father was a hatter, and in connection with his trade ran a large farm. Besides, he was a man of public note, having been commandant of a frontier fort, captain of a company at the Battle of New Orleans, magistrate, one of the framers of the Constitution of Tennessee, and representative in the State Assembly for 9 years. For 25 years, he, as a minister in the Free Will Baptist Church, proclaimed the truth of the gospel. During the late war, he was 3 times hanged and then bound to a board, laid before a fire and roasted till the flesh dropped from his feet, in order to extort from him the whereabouts of his money, but all to no purpose. The guerrilla band left without its spoil. Both he and his wife lived to an advanced age, he being 79 when he died and she 69. Andrew's ancestors on his father's side were of English descent, being descendants of the family to which Lady Jane Grey belonged. On his mother's side, he inherits Welsh and German blood. At the age of 15, Andrew took charge of his father's farm and later bought and shipped produce to New Orleans. Andrew Jackson Gray, Sr. married Rebecca Clementine Campbell on 10 March 1872 in Stewart County, Tennessee. She was born 1851 in Stewart County, Tennessee, passed away 1928. Her parents were Joseph Campbell, born 1820 in North Carolina, passed away 1874. Her mother was Rebecca Whitford, born 1820 in Stewart County, and passed away 1888. This is the death certificate for Mrs. Rebecca Gray. She was born January the 19th, 1851. Occupation housekeeping, birthplace Stewart County, Tennessee. Name of father was Joseph Campbell, and name of mother was Rebecca Whitford. She was died of bronchitis. She was buried in the Gray graveyard. James Gray, father of Andrew Jackson Gray Sr. This is a biography. I have a couple of biographies of his. James Gray, 1788 to 1868, House in the 17th, 18th, and 19th General Assemblies, November the 2nd, 1827 to September the 15th, 1833, representing the counties of Stewart, Humphreys, and Perry. Senate was in the 21st General Assembly from 1835 to 1837, representing Stewart, Humphreys, and Dixon County. Born in Montgomery County, North Carolina, November the 6th, 1788, son of David Gray, described as having limited education, married on July the 15th, 1815, to Anna Bradford. Two sons, Andrew and T.C., came to Tennessee in 1809 and to Stewart County in 1811, where he settled on the east bank of the Tennessee River. A hatter by trade, he became a well-to-do farmer and owner of a large number of slaves. For 25 years, a minister in the Free Will Baptist Church, moderator of Western District Association of that church from 1852 to 1857, Justice of the Peace, delegate from Stewart County to the state's Constitutional Convention of 1834, member of the Democratic Party. In the War of 1812, commanded a company from Stewart County in the 2nd Regiment, Tennessee Infantry, mustered and inspected at Nashville, Davidson County, May the 16th, 1812, mustered out June the 30th, 1812. Later commanded company with General Andrew Jackson at the Battle of New Orleans, January the 8th, 1815. Later held rank of major in the Tennessee militia. Died August the 3rd, 1868. Buried in the Gray family cemetery in Stewart County. Sources are Borum of the Tennessee Baptist Ministers, Godspeed's History of Stewart County, and Message of Governors of Tennessee. Biographical sketches of James Gray. Elder James Gray was the son of David and Sarah K. Gray of Rowan County, North Carolina, where he was born on the 6th day of November, 1783. He was married to Miss Bradford in 1810. He commanded a company in General Carroll's division in the Battle of New Orleans and was stationed on the extreme left next to the swamp, and he fought bravely. He moved to Stewart County, Tennessee in 1811 and settled on the east bank of the Tennessee River. West Tennessee was then occupied by Chickasaw Indians. He organized a company of militia whose duty it was to watch the long line of river from the mouth of Hurricane Creek to the mouth of Panther Creek, which he faithfully performed, sometimes crossing the river and scouting in the Indian country. He served a long time as militia major, as magistrate of his county, 8 years in the legislature, and also in the convention which in 1835 revised the state constitution. He professed religion in 1820 and was baptized by Elder Aaron Hodges into the fellowship of B Branch Church, Stewart County, Tennessee. He commenced family prayers previous to this and immediately afterwards preaching. Was ordained the next year, Presbyterian unknown. He served as pastor of B Branch, Point Pleasant, Poplar Grove, and Crockett's Creek churches. He assisted in the ordination of Elder W.S. Hopkins and his son, Elder F.C. Gray, and perhaps others. He baptized about 1,000 persons during his ministry. He was a moderator of the Western District Association in the years 1852, 1853, 1854, 1855, 1856, and 1857. He died August 3rd, 1868. A long life of devotion to his master, of faithful service to his state as a citizen, having performed his duties to his family well in all the relations of son, brother, and father. He came to the last moment without regret and passed peacefully away to the bright beyond. He had only a limited education, and his preaching was plain. James married Anna Bradford in 1810. She was born 26 December 1791 in Granville County, North Carolina. She passed away on 9 July 1852 on a gray farm in Stewart County, Tennessee. Her father was David Bradford. He was born 1758 in Granville, North Carolina, and passed away 1821 in Stewart County, Tennessee. Anna's mother was Mary Polly Kearney. She was born 1765 in Nancewood, Virginia. She passed away 1845, Stewart County, Tennessee. This is a handwritten note about the Bradfords from before 1868 and after 1821. It says it was compiled by Hiram Bradford. Genealogy. I know but very little of the genealogy of my people, having been very negligent in that particular. My grandfather Bradford's name was Thomas, who resided in North Carolina. He had 5 sons: David, born 1760, Ephraim, born 1762, Phil, 1764, or Philemon. He says we called him Uncle Phil, and my father Benjamin. Uncle David immigrated to Stewart County, Tennessee in 1804 and settled on the south bank of the Cumberland River, immediately and below South Cross Creek, and kept a ferry. This sugar cane we had in those times to make all our sugar from the sugar tree was situated a few hundred yards down the mouth of the creek, precisely where the rolling mill of Wood, Stacker and Company now stands. We lived there until his death, which happened about the year 1821. His children's names were Crawford, 25th of December 1788, Sarah, 1789, Anna, 26th of December 1791, Williard, 1793, Bitsy, 1795, Thomas, 1810, Buckingham, and Henry, August 22nd, 1811. Crawford resides in Henry County near Tennessee River, about 1¼ miles from the mouth of Sandy, and has sundry children. Sarah died. Anna married James Gray and lives on Tennessee River opposite the mouth of Sandy in Stewart County. Has children and grandchildren. Her oldest daughter married Owen H. Edwards of Henry County. Wilgard married Nancy Milan, daughter of John Milan, had a son and daughter, John, born 1815, and Mary, and died. His son, John M., now lives in Lauderdale County, Tennessee. His daughter married George W. Hall and lives in Weakley County. His widow married John Tomlinson and has many children, and now lives with her son John M. Bradford, Tomlinson being dead. This concludes the reading of Fort Henry News, November the 18th, 1937. Also, the genealogy of the Grays of Gray's Landing. Hope you enjoy it, and thank you for watching, and please comment and like.